All right, so there it is, man. A lot is on my mind always. Good to be back. Good to see you guys again. So, as you guys saw, I made my first video, did my first edit. It was, in my personal opinion, amazing for, first time doing anything. I had a lot of fun. But I look at myself as a jack of all trades. There is more to that phrase, but I'm gonna just let you, take what you want from it. Putting my hands in a lot of different things. So at this point, I'm just trying to tap into something that, I probably should have always done, but, i.e., fear. You got to be straightforward nowadays, or just, straight to the point, or you'll never feel relieved or alleviated of whatever tension and burden. I'm very deep, I'm very critical. I think a lot, but I don't think it's a bad thing, but I also think, like, in certain environments, settings, situations, whatever, it can be a little much. So working on that on myself. But all in all, it was liberating is the word. It was fulfilling to sit here and just have an idea and then go out and do it and post it. Granted, fuck it, all the copyright shit, all that, whatever, it's cool, but it's just a learning experience is all I'm looking at. I mean, obviously, there is potential in YouTube content creation and just making videos, obviously, but sitting there doing that, like, obviously in itself, what it was, driving to said destination, listening to something that I was dying to listen to since it came out. I listen to music often, so holding off on gratification to myself personally, if you want to just use specific words, gratification to myself personally to listen to this album, knowing that, like, I had an idea and had a concept that, like, is out there already in the universe that people capitalize on. So why fucking not, is like what I'm saying. All I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else past that. But obviously it was a learning curve, but to get back to what I was saying, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah, my brain was fucking fried, but at that point I have to increase my bandwidth. I have to be able to do more. I have to be able to produce at a high level, is all it is. I can't really sugarcoat things. I can't really profess bullshit at this point in time in my life. Age doesn't really matter, even though eventually the internet or people who know me know how old I am. But from what I've I'm just, or the person I'm coming into at this point in my development, bro, like, that age shit is, niggas is timeless. That's all I really got to say about that. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, holla at me, and hopefully we can have a conversation to, just see where your brain's at, see where my brain's at. And all I'm trying to do is just create a perspective change. That's really it. Like, it's a lot going on in the world, for one, and for two, it affects me as, like, an individual living here. I'm gonna show you where I'm at, just in case most of you motherfuckers just can't tell. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, like, I don't know how that scenery came out within me just picking up that phone, but just from where I'm sitting and when I'm thinking about, like, what's happening in the world, however much you may think like you don't play a part in it or whatever, like, it is affecting everyone across the land. Like, I'm in a point where I'm just, deprogramming my mind, scrubbing my mind from everything that I was, taught within my lifetime up to now, because, what do they say it is? It's just, This is where I have to get more intelligent, more articulate in, my thoughts, because it's right there. You would understand what I'm saying. The people that are watching this, people, that have it right there, who've been constantly thinking about it all the time, it's right there. But, yeah, it's affecting us all in whatever way, shape, or form. Like, I went out today, got my car washed, all right, whatever, $35. And then I'm driving past, and I don't live in California. Everybody in the fucking world knows that California is fucking superior on gas prices. All I can fucking say, superior on gas prices. And for some odd reason, I felt like I was migrating to Cali when I drove past and saw my gas prices. Now, mind you, like, I'm not the oldest, I'm not the youngest, but I'm like, right in between. And all of it is just like shifting like how I'm like perceiving how I have to live my day-to-day life. And granted, like, what I'm trying to bring to the internet, obviously a place where capitalism is encouraged, one should say. I am a jack of all trades. I have a lot that I feel like is relatable, that is like, touched on today, but obviously just from different perspectives. Like, it's an omni-conscious, in my personal opinion, not to get too deep, but like, at this point I'm just practicing being comfortable making videos in my spaces, because at this point I have to be able to create in multiple spaces and just do what I do, not care about what's happening around me. Yeah, it's an omnipresence, man. I'm trying to just figure it out more, understand it all more. I have been watching, I believe his name is Professor Zhang. I've been watching those videos. And I've just been taking like a deep dive into just like history, man. Like, not just like U.S. history, the shit that we've been fed from the time we've been indoctrinated into school to the time, or wherever you graduated, dropped out, wherever you stopped getting a formal education, wherever that may have been. I'm trying to scrub all that shit out, because like, in reality, for me, like, yes, obviously arithmetic, language, and sciences, they obviously matter, but like, in the format that they were taught, and in my own like anecdotal experience, like, it really hasn't played out too well for me. Like, granted, I'm not gonna say I was the worst student, I'm not gonna say I was the best student, but even so, how it all played out, like, I'm more into trying to figure out that stuff now and how it works in like the world now, not in just like the regular, books. Obviously things that we weren't taught, obviously a form of thinking that we weren't taught, a form of critical thinking that we weren't taught. And with all that being said, this is exactly like why I feel like I want to put myself on platforms, put myself out there to, not even gonna say the masses, because that's just like very like broad, but like, put myself out there, and whoever finds me. Whoever wants to be like a part of what I'm saying, or like who understands what I'm saying and what I'm getting at, and wants to like, put their perspective out there and help try to like change, mold, make better for, the next individual that may come across this information, conversation, discourse, whatever you want to call it, like, to help them to just think maybe a little bit differently. Obviously, I'm not going to say I'm going to change the world. Obviously, that's a very fucking hard thing to do, and I am one singular being. And like, I don't have that power, you know what I'm saying, to change everything right now today, as much as I would love to. It's just not like, possible, or in the realms of my possibility at this very moment. Who knows what can happen in the future, but, it's continuing to understand, it's continuing to seek knowledge, it's continuing to be open, it's continuing to learn, grow, study, and improve self, That's all I'm here for at the end of the day, I had to break the barrier of, recording like this, my bad. I had to break the barrier of recording like this. I had to break the barrier of just like, like I said, if you don't just face it, it's always gonna haunt you. Like the fear of just like whomever, man, family, friends, randos, it don't fucking matter. Just like the fear of, it's another word. I have to do better. This is just showing right now I have to do better. But like their opinions, like being afraid of what they have to say, being afraid of like their thoughts, being afraid of like their limitations, and it's a learned thing. Like nothing, like we got a fucking supercomputer in here, bro. Like, and it's amazing to like step out of yourself and just think about that. Like you and I and everyone walking right now has a supercomputer in their brain. Obviously, just like any fucking device computer that we have, shit is programmed to do specific shit. Shit is just programmed to do specific shit. And obviously, each one of us is specific in whatever part of the world, whatever role we play in society. We all have specific roles, but like, we're all programmed slightly differently, but at the same time still programmed the same, being afraid of certain things, whatever it may be, and for me, all in all, what I'm getting at is I'm just trying to scrub my brain, and in the midst of that, wherever this journey takes me, hopefully I learn something, hopefully I can help people, hopefully I can just, leave this place better than I fucking found it. At the end of the fucking day, man. Leave this place better than I found it. And I don't know what that entails specifically, I don't know what it entails specifically. I guess I'm getting anxious. I'm doing shit with my hands. But, yeah, this is all for me just practice. This is all for me just, a learning curve, all in all, of social media content creation. But at the same time, like, what I'm bringing to social media and content creation, I want it to be me. And whatever me is, whatever realms I'm personally into, I would like to share, because there's people out there that know more than me, there's people out there that know less than me, and there's people out there that want to work together to get better. That's how I see it. You either are seeking, you either are helping, or you either are working together to create more. And I just put all that in a box, and that's just how I'm starting to see my everyday living, my personal relationship with people around me in my life, relationships, work, so on and so forth, whatever. Obviously everything's like transactional to a degree, however you want to frame it. Maybe I need to see it differently, but at least make it positive. Whatever the transaction is, like, transaction is just a word, but like no connotation necessarily. I kind of felt like where I made it negative in that sense, but that word specifically, no connotation. You kind of have the choice, like whether you want the transaction to be a positive transaction or a negative transaction, and you also know that by who you are dealing with in said transaction. So I mean, I enjoy this. They said I was born with the gift to gab, and I had to go through a lot and see a lot, understand a lot, do some inner work, continue to do inner work, and see the best in every fucking thing. And it brought me here today doing this, so at this point I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but all I know is I have to stay consistent. So get used to seeing this shit, man. And whatever you got to say, man, what my boy Kendrick say, is it love, is it hate? Probably, man. I can't tell you, only you know what it is. So back at it again, Univision, man. And stay tuned, man. It's gonna be an eventful summer, and I wish all of you the best. That's all I came here for. Be easy.